The following places are world famous for obvious reasons. Rich history, mystery and natural beauty have been fascinated by mankind for hundreds, or thousands, of years. In addition to tradition and scale, they also follow us to tell the story of the dark past. The scientific record of storms is only a century old, but nature retains longer records in rocks and soil. Some of them are preserved at the bottom of the famous Blue Hole in Belize. Scientists pierced the heart of the blue hole and extracted a 28-foot core, revealing nearly 2,000 years of geological history. This indicates that storm activity increased around 900 AD. 5 distinct layers were formed around 700 to 1150 AD. Their thickness is between 6 inches and 12 inches. Considering that Category 5 Hurricane Hattie only dropped 1.5 inches in 1961, this is a terrible phenomenon. As early as the late 19th century, drought swept the Maya, and these violent hurricanes may have put another nail in their collective cultural coffin. The Alhambra in Granada is a typical Spanish monument. It was built on Roman ruins in 889, rebuilt by conquered Arabs, and returned by Spain in 1492. Its many pillars, geometric patterns and fountains are among the greatest works of art. But there are 10,000 Arabic inscriptions hidden throughout the fort. About 10% of them are verses in the Quran. The rest are excerpts of slogans, authorship, poems, and life advice, such as, "Save the words and you will live in peace." The most common reason is to beautify the Nasrid dynasty. As the last Muslim dynasty to rule the Iberians, the Nasrids ruled for more than 260 years. In their motto there is no victor except Allah is the most important inscription. After Christianity conquered Granada, the rulers Fernando and Isabel realized the beauty of the Alhambra and decided to keep the inscription. It's great to hear that the monarch values the art of cultural opponents instead of obliterating it. The Nazca Lines in Peru replaced this art form that appeared more than 1,000 years ago. A recent drone survey found hundreds of ancient geographical symbols in the Pulp Mountain about 30 miles north of the Nazca ruins. Unlike the more famous Nazca Lines engraved on the 150-square-mile Nazca Plateau, these older symbols are located on the hillside and can be seen from the densely populated valley. Maybe it was written to the gods, its predecessor was created for the human eye, maybe it was to mark the territory. The image is psychedelic. Below is an 80 by 210-foot sacred idol with the body of a killer whale and a human hand holding a trophy head. Another glyph shows a warrior wearing a headgear and a cane, standing next to a woman. Below is a Medusa shape made up of entangled tentacles or snakes. Fertility. Find out. More than 2,000 years after its heyday, Pompeii continued to shock the world with avalanche-like discoveries. The latter includes, provided by the Great Pompeii Project, a fresco with all the beauty and cruelty that the Romans expected. Next to the gladiator camp is a 3 by 4.5-foot mural. It was once decorated on the walls of the basement of a tavern, where gladiators gathered to drink soup, possibly hurting prostitutes. In the room upstairs, prostitutes are engaged in the world's oldest handicraft and help gladiators. This mural is famous for its magnificence. He represented a Mumilo gladiator, with a short sword and a large rectangular shield, who defeated a Thracian gladiator. The beaten Terex raised his fingers to beg for forgiveness, and he shed blood from various detailed wounds. The Serengeti is not as complete as it seems. The nomadic shepherds of the Stone Age changed the prairie with their food, not with their food, but with the food of herding animals. This accidental fertilization has led to extensive landscaping and improvement of biodiversity. These oases are called meadows. These green spots are estimated to be about 1,000 years old, but analysis of manure-rich soil shows that they were deposited between 1,550 and 3,700 years ago. Because the feces strengthen their fertility is increased by 10 to 10,000 times, and the feces provide nutrients such as magnesium, calcium, and phosphorus. But the process of natural fertilization is a double-edged sword. Only a shepherd in constant motion can benefit the ecosystem. If you stay in one place for too long, your animals will overeat and consume soil. Built around 430 BC CH. Dedicated to Athena, the patron saint of Athens, the Parthenon is one of the most famous buildings in the world. But we can call it the wrong name. The Parthenon means the house of the Virgin, but according to ancient documents and historical data, whether the Greeks named their monument Hecatombeion or 30-meter temple is still unclear. The term has been in the list for 2,500 years. Gold objects made for Athena, including a 10-meter high gold statue. The name of the Parthenon is also mentioned, but it seems to refer to a small, independent treasure found in the Acropolis complex, and other gilded objects. It may be a real Parthenon. In addition, it is carried by the caryatids, female, virgin-shaped pillars, aptly named the House of the Virgin. Rapa Nui seems to contain the remains of a large-scale war. The island is dotted with thousands of obsidian spearheads called matai. However, although the matai are sharp, their creators may not have used them. Erase each other from history. This is what the scientific art of morphometry says, which compares the size and shape of obsidian instruments. Scientists have concluded that matai cannot be compared in form to the real weapons found on the island. They differ greatly, and most importantly, they are not very good for spurs, but are similar to multi-purpose instruments, which explains their popularity. Rapa Nui uses them for various tasks, such as getting tattoos or preparing plants. So perhaps its decline was not caused by a catastrophic battle, but by, surprisingly, European tourists who arrived in the 18th century. Tintagel Castle, famous for the legend of King Arthur, is an international hotspot. The most unlikely to prove this is a 60 meters Cornish slate slab, which has served as a windowsill in an abandoned building for more than 1,000 years. Medieval Rosetta Stele with Christian symbols and Greek and Latin scripts. Its multiple languages mean an educated urban population. Researchers say that this stone continues the writing habits of ancient scribes. The word man in the 7th century is not a shrub, he knows how to write official documents and write these brightly illustrated gospels in fancy letters. This discovery, along with previously unearthed foreign assets, shows a living heritage. This place is the home of educated people, has trade links with the Mediterranean, and even the King of Cornwall sits there. Stonehenge, England, United Kingdom. Stonehenge weighs 30 tons and is 30 kilometers away. The smallest blue gem weighs 2 to 5 tons and is nearly 90 miles from the Priestley Mountains in Wales. Perhaps with the help of an unexpected ally, the pig. According to the discovered ceramics, it was found that the Darlington Wall was 2 miles away, an ancient village where the builders of Stonehenge may have lived. The old pot was coated with lard, probably not for cooking reasons. They will be crushed in these barrel-sized containers. However, archaeologists found that most of these old corpses were intact and showed signs of charring, indicating that this was a method of spit roasting. This means that the builders of the monument may have collected fat to lubricate the logs where the Stonehenge boulders are located. The creators of the Great Wall of China did not always establish defensive positions. Investigators said that the northern line, the nearly 800-mile section called the Wall of Genghis Khan, was not built to stop the relentless advance of the Khan. First, the wall is too low. A trench 2 meters deep is not enough to stop the march of the bloodthirsty army. Second, it is not built with solid bricks like the rest of the wall, but with compacted soil. In addition, it is built around hiking trails. 72 clusters, probably administrative buildings. These unpaved structures are located near the entrances and exits of the off-travel hiking trails. Why? Handled the large-scale movement of people and livestock. The Great Wall allowed the Khatanliao Empire to control migration, collect taxes, and gain weight.